Hello, it's almost 2 p.m. on the East Coast, and we say hello and welcome everybody in the audience to this first webinar and panel discussion of 2024 by Netzel. I'm excited to be here with two of my favorite human beings and also two wonderful experts on my side. First of all, it's Steve Hall from NCM Associates and my dear colleague Faraz Gori. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great. So shall we start by a round of introductions?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So first of all, hi, my name is Eva Kellershoff. I'm Netzel's Vice President for Sales in North America and Europe. My areas of expertise are auto finance, mobility, digital, and strategy. And throughout my career, I used to work at the intersection of automotive and fintech, and before joining Netzel in the startup space on the West Coast, and have also been serving in a few board advisory roles over the year. Now, let me hand over to you, Steve, and let's hear about what the company is doing that you're working for.
Thank you. You bet. It's a pleasure to be here with the company and for our two companies to come together to collaborate today. But I am Steve Hall. I'm VP of US for NCM Associates. My background is retail automotive. I was 29 years in retail automotive, including a VP position in a 20-store group on that. And then came in for my second career with NCM Associates just over 11 years ago. Loved working with dealers and getting to hear what they have to say. Came up through the institute side, of course, 20 groups and proprietary groups and all been a part of, and just love being in the retail side of the automotive business.
Wonderful. Faraz? Oh, sorry. NCM, go ahead.
Okay, so to tell you a little bit about NCM Associates, if you are not familiar with us, we are the largest 20 group company in North America. We cover the United States and Canada with over 520 groups on it. This is the peer-to-peer collaboration meetings that we do multiple times a year on it. Of course, we have a consulting and executive coaching division. We have our NCM Institute training division, which is really focused towards the management training of dealership on this. We also do some OEM training, but it's really focused primarily on dealership, departmental managers, and general management along the way with that. We have our software solutions side, which is the analytics side. We do this for the OEMs and dealers, have multiple products out there, mainly on the numbers and the business analysis side is really where we focus in on. And what we're probably best known for within our 20 groups and the industry is our benchmark data. We're a 76-year-old company, actually, I guess 77 now, that changed calendar years here on it. And we have a very large data set dealing with over 5,000 clients, dealership clients, rooftop clients a month on this. And so a great set of key performance indicators and benchmark data.
Awesome. Faraz, how about yourself? And tell us also a little bit about Netzel.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Eva and Steve. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. And thanks to all of you who are joining us online. I'm coming up on my 11th year at Netzel now as VP Sales of Digital Products and Partner Success. And I've worn several different hats along the way, managing enterprise projects, product development, in business development. But my current responsibility is for our digital retail and mobility vertical in the US market, which is enabled through one of our product offerings called Autos, spelled O-T-O-Z. And I led a team in launching that platform from concept to essentially having two marquee automotive clients in the US who rely on that technology for their digital retail mobility business. And one of the great parts of my responsibility is I have to make sure that our dealer partners who use that platform are equipped and empowered to succeed with that technology. So just to tell you a little bit about Netzel, over 4 decades, Netzel has served OEMs, their captive finance companies, dealers, retailers, lenders, and banks. And we provide mission-critical technology and products that enable end-to-end retail, finance, wholesale finance, and we have a significant global footprint with over 200 clients, many of whom are tier one automotive companies. And so our sort of foundation has been deeply rooted in automotive and asset finance, but we've sort of leveraged that foundation and created our own edge in the auto retail technology space. And so we are sort of considered trailblazers when it comes to innovation and digital transformation. And with key clients like Mini USA and AutoNation, for leveraging those innovative platforms, there is certainly validation we see in the industry in the shift to digitalization and alternative business models. And as a company, we're very happy to be front and center as recognized tech providers through that shift.
Very cool. So let's kick off this webinar and this discussion. And because it's early in the year and because the big show is coming up in Las Vegas, NADA, I thought it would be a good idea to really sharpen our minds for what's to come in 2024. So what are the trends and challenges that we should expect? Now, to start this off, I went over what chief economists across the board had to say about this upcoming year. And it basically boils down to a few key trends. One is that the whole sales and demand play is going to normalize, meaning we're going to see a more sustainable market that also helps us understand how, the seller's market is basically coming to an end. That's also driven by, more supply in the stores. And at the same time, there's also a very slow demand growth that we're going to see. And one of that slow demand growth is forced by interest rates that continue to remain high. And probably the first decline in interest rates is going to happen in the second half of the year, or maybe the third quarter. So these are challenging environments, meaning there's a lot more competitiveness needed by dealerships. And first of all, before we jump into what we can do to help dealerships, let me level with you, Steve. Is that also the forecast that you're seeing based on your experience on the ground?
Largely, you've hit on the main topics on that. It's interesting where you're taking economist viewpoints and larger, stepping back, taking a look at everything versus what we deal with largely in the dealership world, dealership realm, what we're hearing in the 20 groups, what we're hearing from the dealers along the way. But you really did hit right on target with that. Interest rates are front and center. They are just there. Whether this is from floor plan interest because of inventories being higher and finally coming back from the supply chain, whether this is from a payment situation and a sales situation from the buyer side of it, all of those come into play, and they're going to be front and center in 2024. But we have things other than interest rates that are driving this also. Okay, we finally have inventory coming back. We have a nice day's supply. Whether we have the right models or not is questionable. We have changes in EV, as you've seen, multiple manufacturers, specifically Ford and Lightning, talking about that they're cutting back production significantly due to demand on this. So that's an unknown. You have dealers that aren't signing up on the EV program as much as what they had originally thought the uptake would be. We have changes going on in the government and the potential election that could interfere with things going on. And we just have an overall market that is going to have a lot of things going on in 2024. But ultimately, I really think it comes down to the consumer changes that they've had over the last 3+ years, 3.5 years on this. The consumers expect something different. And we've really held the upper hand why the inventory was short. And now while we have more inventory, we have to change to meet them where they are. And I think that's going to be a big change in the way that we retail and sell and what we have to do on our processes. The modern retailing can't be it's coming. It's here. It's been here. Now we have, because we have inventory, we got to really move forward with this. So I see a lot of things. AI, of course, is going to be a big topic. Fixed operations is going to be a big topic. But seeing things like the Amazon partnership with Hyundai and how that affects the market, and if other people jump in or if that kind of fades away, all comes into the retail side. So it's going to be a very interesting and exciting 2024. but there's going to be a lot of things we're going to have to pay attention to on the retail and dealer side in order to make it a great 2024, which I expect we will do, because dealers are very, very flexible whenever they come down to it. They're smart people that will figure it out and move forward quickly to meet the customer's needs and adjust to the changing environment. So it's an exciting year.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So I think the key ideas that we can help dealers with are definitely becoming more ready with digital, right? And becoming more effective, because we'll help dealers actually turn leads into converted sales. So how do we do that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, while there's been dramatic shifts in the last 3 years, when we look at supply, when we look at prices and interest rates, one thing has steadily risen and will continue to rise dramatically, which is the surge of online vehicle sales. Globally, it's projected about 7 million vehicles will be sold through these online channels. And the North America, the US market, is leading that charge with about a third of that projection. So, to Steve's point, we have to get, the retailers, dealers have to get smart about selling and meeting the customer where they are, where they demand convenience. So, having a robust digital retail strategy is now much more of a hygiene factor and a fundamental strategy to empower success, rather than something that will just augment your retail strategy. And I think, one of the first things we have to do is define digital retail. Is it super lead generation that allows a customer to perform some steps of the purchase journey? Is it a fully end-to-end online seamless journey? Our view, and I think many others view digital retail as really having a digital touch point for every part of the purchase process. And to us, that doesn't just mean online. That means everywhere a customer could be, whether it's in store, whether it's on their sofa. And it doesn't just mean a linear journey. It is very unlinear. So allowing a customer to start in store or end at home, or start at home and end in store, or do a mix of those things several different times, or do everything in store, do everything online. It's about really having that digital touch point in every part of the process. So this is a vision that we've had. We call that omni-channel retail, omni-channel experiences, and this is really NetSol's vision. We've had this since the early 2010s. Our first prototypes came out during that time. But in 2021, that sort of vision also came out of OEMs and retailers, and specifically Mini USA really took charge in this. And just before COVID started, or right at the beginning of COVID, Mini USA decided it was time to offer that kind of online end-to-end purchasing journey, an omni-channel experience to their customers and to their dealer networks. So they found us, and we built that platform and launched it for them. And I want to direct you to what's sort of happened in the last calendar year here. The enrollments on that program from Mini USA dealers doubled, and an unprecedented 5x increase in leads and sales came out of that, which I think was very much over the expectation. Altogether, the average lead conversion ratio is about 23%, which essentially means that 1 in every 4 Mini leads are actually converting to sale and getting into Mini through this digital retail channel. So a very significant validation of customer behavior, of dealers getting smart about retail and really implementing a robust digital retail strategy. We as a company, we continue to evolve the platform. And, again, one of the best things about my job is to listen to our dealer partners and to build the tool with them rather than for them. So we're constantly listening for feedback and constantly evolving. And I think one of the things that we've really learned is, sort of about what doesn't work and what does work. Adopting a retail technology that creates a bottleneck, we see that sales managers feel like they have to take the full responsibility of managing that sort of platform, and they hesitate to encourage a wider team adoption. So enabling the wider sales staff onto a digital retail platform, enabling the F&I office onto a digital retail platform. And the problem is that sales managers are already busy. They're adding more to their daily workload, and what happens then is customers get alienated because there's delays in communication. We all know that time kills deals, so that results in lost sales opportunities. So it's really important as you sort of start looking at technology for your digital retail strategy, or you're looking to replace technology, that you look for something that is a holistic platform that really enables the wider teams seamlessly. It distributes the digital retail workload harmoniously as the current workload is distributed, and that's gonna allow you to be quicker on responding to leads and closing deals. It's gonna make the customer much happier, and it's gonna make you more efficient. So how might we do that? How might a technology do that? Well, you want to look for something.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I thought that was really important. It seems like such a no-brainer that you wanted to share like the digital platform that you're having inside of your sales staff. But I think that perfectly fits with another stat that I came across, which said that it was actually published by Cox Automotive, saying that 76% of dealers find digital retailing tools have improved their customer relationships. So basically every single sales manager, sales rep in the team has a particular customer relationship. So they all can benefit from enhancing these customer relationships through these digital tools, right?
Absolutely. That's the whole point, is that there is a place for the sales staff and the F&I office in digital retail. Sales associates, they don't desk deals, right? But they communicate. They are the front face of the deal, right? So there are tools out there. We certainly are providing those tools out there to enable those communication channels, to give that sales associate a place in digital retail, to alleviate that heavy workload on the sales managers. So some of the things that would that speak to that vision from a product perspective is real-time notifications that go to the dealers and customers, chat tools that are assisted by AI. So this is one of the new things we're working on, but also facilitating the human interaction as well. Having video call or audio call integration within the application at sort of strategic points in the journey of that lead. Live deal co-browsing, which actually allows a sales associate and a customer to review a deal live. A sales associate can sort of circle things and explain things. And we know that there's typically there are multiple back and forths, multiple pencils before a customer and a retailer kind of get to a point of closure. So that sort of unlinear, that back and forth has to also be facilitated. And that's just a point on speaking to sort of the sales staff, but there's also a lot more out there for the F&I office, right? Where for the F&I office, having that interview with a customer is very important. That upselling opportunity, even post credit approval and restructuring that deal and sort of achieving that sort of back end profit through upsells is very important. And so that obviously is that has been a complex thing to overcome from a digital retail perspective, but I think that is something that is absolutely necessary, because again, our vision is to enable the wider staff.
No, absolutely. And I think there's also another study from JD Power that underlines that even if customers walk through the digital retailing process in the F&I section, they will load their shopping cart with more stuff than what they did if they sat like in the presence of a sales rep and had to decide about those F&I products, right?
Absolutely.
So we see that over and over again.
Absolutely.
Cool.
You know, one of the things that I'd like to chime in on here is, you know, whatever they're doing out there with the modern retailing, the digital tools on there, one of the things that the dealers really struggle with is just the seamless integration, because it seems like people want to start at whatever point they're at, wherever they're at, in person, online, all the way through where, or any piece of that. But whenever the dealers get them into the actual store, too often the salespeople want to go back to the old way of working deals and wants to take the client all the way back to step one. And I think that's one of the big adjustments that the dealers are having to make and are making. They've been working on this for a few years, well, several years, but particularly the last couple of years on it. I just think that is where we're still stumbling. It's not that seamless transition of wherever you're at in the process, how can we assist you to that next step, whether that's in person or digitally. How do we keep that going? And I'm really interested. This has been a conversation for dealers on the F&I and the product selection. There's been a large fear of dealers for this time of what can I do with my F&I office? And if I don't have customers in store, in person, if I don't have that live presentation, which I know some of them are doing remote, but live person on it, if I allow them to self-select, will my F&I stand up or not? And so as we get more and more information on this and data, it's really interesting to see what the customers are self-selecting and how that's actually moving forward with the F&I department faster than we would have ever thought possible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we know that the use of those digital tools is constantly on the rise, not only because of the rise of digitally native buyers and shifting consumer behaviors, but you just mentioned Amazon at the beginning, with Hyundai, spectacular announcement. I think that is something that will kind of merge that whole space into, hey, this is just another way of shopping, right? And so as long as we can make it more convenient, and again, studies show that people feel more at ease particularly in the hard parts, in the high friction moments of the process, such as the contracting part, the credit application part, etc. That's where we can help that make that beautiful. Perfect. And talking of digital native buyers, there's also another trend on the rise, which is the move to mobility, so to more non-ownership models. I know we've done a lot in the space at NetSol, and full disclosure, I used to work for the company that pioneered the subscription model, which is kind of a hybrid between a rental and a lease. And we've seen AutoNation move into this space with a powerful launch at the LA Auto Show last year. And we're proud to be the ones providing the technology platform for them, for us. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Certainly. So, as a company, when we started building out the Autos platform, the vision was to enable convenience, transparency, and flexibility, both from a digital user interface and user experience perspective, but also from a business model perspective. And so, this was probably a couple years before the pandemic. We saw a lot of opportunity in the disruption of the standard traditional long-term loan and lease, and we started to see experimentation in sort of alternative usage models, shorter term, less obligation, more flexibility, and just better user experiences. So we had the opportunity to build out that vision with a car sharing company. And we empowered them with a solution to offer short-term leases, subscriptions, rentals, car sharing products. Then the pandemic sort of stalled that disruptive thinking, and there was sort of a refocus back to traditional ownership models. But I think what prevailed was the need for modern digital retail experiences. And luckily for us, our technology by design was, to cater to any type of transaction and any type of usage, regardless of the model. Now, fast forward to now, with many under our belt on digital retail, the alternative ownership model is making its way back into the mainstream. And when you have, one of the largest retailers in the U.S., AutoNation, recently launching a microlease marketplace, that really tells you something about what some of the most successful organizations in our industry believe is the future of auto retail. So luckily, we always had that capability. We are powering the back end operation of AutoNation Mobility, and it's designed to be a very easy way to search vehicles and to subscribe to a 6-month or a 12-month lease. Our technology allows the dealers and the operations team behind this to manage those purchases and to manage the life cycle of that asset. And it was key that from a technology perspective, that our product had to be modular, it had to be headless, cloud native. And so actually, we are seamlessly integrated with AutoNation's front end. And that's sort of one of the latest developments is our API first ecosystem, which also allows us to offer modules and not just a full-blown end-to-end product. While we do offer that, we also have modular components. But yeah, very exciting journey with AutoNation. I think there's a lot of use for it. AutoNation Mobility has a variety of brands and models and inventory. And the try before you buy use case, or the I'm going to work for 6 months in a different city, but that's it. I need something for that time. I think there is a lot of potential there, and I think the general consumer just needs to be aware of what's possible.
Awesome. Steve, what is your take on these new ownership models?
Well, it's an interesting market, I'll say that. And it's an interesting opportunity. So whenever I first started seeing the subscriptions come up, it really started with Porsche several years ago. And it was kind of a novelty type idea that came through, and we were discussed in the 20 groups and the classes and things with that. But as we continue to move forward and evolve, we started seeing that this could be something. It's not going to be a huge market, but this has some opportunity, and it has some opportunity for a variety of reasons. Maybe you're working in a different area for a while and just need a car in that area for 6 months or whatever on it. Maybe it's where you're in the subscription service and, okay, I want to drive a 4-door sedan normally or a sports car normally, but I need to get into an SUV for a period of time because, of family situations, and I have flexibility along the way with that. And lots of other cases on it. And I knew that this was really going to become a focus at some point going forward. Whenever we started seeing last year, the new financial statements come out for some of the OEMs, Ford comes to mind specifically, where they added in the subscription line on their financial statements going through. So it's going to be a focus whenever it's one thing if Porsche is doing it, the smaller OEM and all, versus where you start getting a Ford doing this along the way on it. So it's really interesting. I'd be curious to see where it goes. I still think, from what I see and hear, it's probably not going to be real mainstream or maybe adopted across the nation in the same ratio and aspect. It may be a little bit more regional on some of this for a while, but it makes me wonder. It makes me think of the Uber situation several years ago. There was an article out, I think 2015 or 16, I think it was from TechCrunch, and I'm sure has put in others on it. But it took them 6 years to get to 1 billion Uber rides. And then to go from 1 billion rides to 2 billion rides took them 6 months.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting the subscriptions to do that, but what I am saying is it takes years to get that little bit of traction. But then once they do, we're going to find what that level is of that need and the desire, and it's going to pick up real quick to that level at that point. So it's going to be an interesting transition. I do think that there's technology changes that are making this making this more possible than ever before. I mean, if you're talking about shared vehicles on this, just being able to use your phone as the key for the vehicle, where you're using it between multiple people, makes a world of difference in being able to adopt and adapt into the public on it. So whether it's the short-term lease, the micro leases, whether it's subscriptions, whether it's ride share, shared ownership, whatever it is, there's something there, and there's a customer demand. And quite honestly, could partly be driven just due to the interest rates and the price of vehicles. Vehicles just keep getting so much more expensive that they're going to need some alternatives. And this could be the alternative, either for a shorter commitment by a person or a shared commitment by people along the way. So it'll be really interesting to see where this goes, but it'll play out as technology keeps driving this ability.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's quite the segue here as well. So not only does it offer a new way and like easier access to getting into a car, but of course, you don't have the burden of a loan, especially in these times of high interest rate crises almost. But it can maybe bridge the time until it's getting better. But it's also sort of a convenience move, and but with that bridge to, let's say, a more costly or a more budget, a conform way of getting into a car. I think we see also a move towards how we can help customers find their next ride or their next car, and overcome high payments. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of customers we see a lot of customers who are really car geeks, and who spend, hours and hours on the internet, comparing cars and here and there. But we also see more and more people that say, hey, I need a vehicle, but it's more important for me to have a convenient way of getting it. So that's why we talked about digital retailing, for instance. But many people also say, like, how do I get from this is my budget on a monthly payment? How do I get from there to my next vehicle? So do we also have options there and help customers get into their next car and have a smarter way of selecting these?
Yeah, so it's really about not putting a customer in a tough situation in the first place, where they don't really have that transparency and visibility, sometimes until they've already signed the contract and they're a couple months into their lease or loan. And especially with the new FTC ruling coming out to be effective in July, the CARS rule, which essentially means dealers have to get much more transparent about pricing from the very first stage. I think what we see is your typical tier 3 dealer website does not achieve that sort of transparency and budget-based sort of matching with vehicle or payment options in the beginning. And I think those websites, the website strategy, it has to get better. It absolutely has to get better. Customers need to know what they can afford very early in the lead funnel. That's going to drive retention. That's going to drive referral. And I think what we see is websites are sort of behind the curve on this. So one of the things we're doing about it is we've launched a new feature which we call Finance First, which is a sort of affordability assessment where you tell it what your ideal range of payment is and down payment and terms, and it tells you what your options are and different variations of those payment options in the same view. So actually, I can show you a bit of a teaser on that. Just give me a moment while I share this quick little video with you.
Yeah, while you have that moment, just a quote from my former boss who always said, people are price shoppers, but they are payment buyers. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. That I love that quote. I'd love to know who said that. Maybe.
Hi, Scott.
So as you can see, so this is Finance First. My media player is acting up. So give me a moment while I reload that video.
Yes. So let's just talk a little bit about this. So the idea is here to really connect, whether it's dealers, it can also be banks, it can be anyone who provides a number of vehicles or a vehicle inventory to customers, to present them first with the option of looking at finance, and then give them all the range of cars that there are. So interestingly, we call this tool Finance First. And the good thing about it is it contains all of the incentives. It contains multiple options on evaluation of your credit, for instance, and it really gives you a powerful idea of how to move about potentially comparing cars in there as well. So, Faraz, are we ready?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully you can see that now.
Like.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
sure.
So you're just gonna, as a customer, you're gonna put in your parameters or down payment, whatever you can, and it's gonna immediately give you options. This is something that can be easily integrated on your website, pulling your inventory, pulling your pricing, and rates to give those accurate estimations. Our pricing tool allows us to bring in accurate pricing with regards to tax, with regards to fees. We are integrated with all of the main dealer systems that need to be integrated. So, it really does give the customer a better sort of start, and knowing where they can really, what options they can really consider.
Mm-hmm.
We're also augmenting this with AI, with generative AI chat. And again, this is a teaser, but we will happily share more details with you and present this more, as soon as possible, and also coming soon as we exhibit at the NADA conference.
Yes, very, very excited about that. And the cool thing with that Finance First option, it not only gives you an idea of what you could shop, it not only gives you the option to maybe get a credit approval or something, or a pre-approval, but it would seamlessly be built into a digital retailing end-to-end journey, so you can actually completely check out all the way, or you go back and forth with the dealer in an omni-channel kind of situation. So it gives you all of the options. So I'm super excited to be with you in actually a week's time, I would say, when we all meet at NADA. The booth that we have, please come visit us with NetSol at the booth 6468 in the North Hall. And for us, anything else to say other than it's been great having you with me here today. The audience, thank you for listening in. And we hope we'll make you excited about the year 2024 and the options that you have potentially as dealers to become even more competitive and get more customers in your stores and on your platforms.
Yeah, I want to give Steve the last word. So I'll just say thank you again to both of you, to all the viewers. We're super excited. We've been, really, we've believed in innovative and disruptive digital retail for a while. It's been validated. We have a lot of activity and a lot that will be launched over the course of the next 12 months. And yes, we will be happy to share more at the conference. So thank you again. Steve, we give you the last word.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being on here today, and I always like being able to give a little bit of the dealer's perspective and information that way to tie into everything you're talking about. We love it that your company is trying to help push, not trying to help, but is pushing forward with the industry and improving the industry along the way on it. So it's been a real pleasure. If you'd like to come by NA and see us at NADA for NCM, we're at booth 3651W. They're in the West Hall, but definitely get by NetSol, see their products, see what it is, see what some of the current environment issues are, challenges, and hot topics for 2024. And, let's see what we can do to move this industry forward together along the way on it. So thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a real pleasure.
Wonderful. And everybody have a wonderful day.